Gitten Vach, everybody. Welcome to Jerry's Parsha Ponderings. Shavua Tov for Parshat Mishpatim. Apologize, I didn't get this in before Shabbat this week. A little bit of a hectic week. So we'll basically reminisce and look back on Parshat Mishpatim. Couple of quick ideas. Don't want to skip a week. Parshat Mishpatim is, of course, a corollary to Parshat Yitro. As we know, at the end of last week, we experienced the most momentous event in all of human history, Ma'amad Har Sinai. And the whole sound and light show, Moshe, the tablets, the top 10, again, Koiloi Subrakim, thunder and lightning, very, very frightening. What happens? Next week's parsha, this is Kisik Nevet Ivri. If you buy a servant, you have to treat him a certain way 6 years, and then it goes into if you take a pledge from someone, you have to return. All these different laws that seemingly are very mundane. Not exactly with all the not with all the pomp and circumstance that we saw by Ma'amad Har Sinai. Yet this follows right upon the heels of the Aseret HaDibrot of Ma'amad Har Sinai. What's going on? So, like we said, Yisro follows Mishpatim, or Mishpatim follows Yisro rather, and they are connected. In order to be able to be Makabel the Torah, what are we talking about? The Bnei Yisrael were given the Aseret HaDibrot. Moshe goes back up the mountain. He's going to bring down the Torah. But in order to be Makabel the Torah, you first have to be a mensch. And Parshat Mishpatim is teaching us what it is to be a mensch. What it is to be a decent human being. There are certain things you have to know. You have to know that if you borrow, you can charge interest. You have to know that there are certain ways to behave. If you take a pledge, you have to return it. You can't treat people inappropriately, even ad kadei, the point of if a person sells himself into servitude and you happen to buy this person as a servant for 6 years, there's a certain way that he has to be treated. They said that at the times when there was such a thing, that a person that purchased a servant basically purchased a master for himself because he had to treat him better than he treated himself. It wasn't, Southern Man by Neil Young. There was a proper way to something as that. We don't practice this today, obviously, but even something like that, there were laws too. There were laws about if you find basar treifa, you find an animal torn asunder, roadkill. Obviously, we don't eat it, but it said lakelev tashlichunoto, it would be given to the dog. Why? Because the dog, on the night that we left Egypt, the dogs didn't bark, so we even show hakarat hatov, we show gratitude to a dog. How much more so do we have to show gratitude to other people? And this is the whole idea of Mishpatim, and why it follows immediately upon after Yitro, because the whole idea of being Makabel the Torah, you first had to be a proper Kli to be Makabel the Torah. So without basic menschlichkeit, all the lofty ideas are let's not say meaningless, but they weren't able to be properly received. The Torah goes on in Mishpatim to say, "V'anshe kodesh tiyuli," you shall be a holy nation to me. What is Hashem saying? He's saying exactly the idea that we're trying to bring out here. Again, to be makabel the Torah, you have to be pure. Pure of heart, pure of soul, pure of action, and pure of attitude. You have to be an Anshe Kodesh, to be a holy nation. You first had to be a decent nation, and a proper nation, and a moral nation. And this is what all of Mishpatim, all of Parshat Mishpatim is basically saying, that to be makabel the Torah, to be able to sit and learn, to be able to learn Yeridea and Choshen Mishpat and Shas and go to a Daf Yomi and to finish Shas, you first have to be the proper vessel. And that is all the ideas that are brought down in terms of proper living that Mishpatim and indeed the rest of the Torah is going to teach us. So, of course, we know the famous two words, Nasev and Ishma, we will do and we will listen. It's very interesting. At the end of Parshat Yitro, last week's Parsha, it said, Kol asher diber Hashem na'asa. Everything that God told us, Eleinu na'asa, we will do. It doesn't say Nasev and Ishma. Only at the end of Parshat Mishpatim do we hear Na'asa v'nishma. The Aseret HaDibrot were transmitted directly from Hashem to Am Yisrael. Certainly the first two, and then Moshe told them the other ones. They're a midrashim, okay? But there's no discussion in terms of the Doraita, right? The Anochi Hashem Elokecha, Lo Tiyeh Lecha Elokim Acherim Al Panai. There's nothing to discuss. There's nothing really. You don't have to be a genius. God said, don't do this. Don't do it. Even there's nothing to Nishma. I mean, yes, ultimately there is. That's the whole idea of Parshat Mishpatim. But basically, when Hashem gives us a command, the reasoning is that Hashem said it. What does the V'nishma come to teach us? The Torah Sheba'al Peh. The learning the deeper reasons and the halachot rabbanan, the whole treatise of Shas, the tractates of all of the Gemaras and the Mishnayos and the Shulchan Aruch. That's the V'nishma. But we only said this after hearing the words of Parshat Mishpatim, realizing that no, it's not so cut and dry like Anochi Hashem Elokecha. Anochi Hashem Elokecha Nasa. Nothing to talk about. Shabbos. Obviously, we have to learn the V'nishmas of Shabbos, but Hashem said Shabbos, you do Shabbos, right? Kabed es avicha v'es imecha. Yeah, no kidding. Don't kill. Duh. Don't steal. No kidding. You don't take what isn't yours. Of course, there are greater meanings and deeper wells to be dug. But nonetheless, the Aseret HaDibrot and the Oraitas that were told directly by Hashem, there's really nothing to discuss. There's nothing. You do what Hashem said. Then, once you realize Sheishes Yamim Tavod and Anshe Kodesh Tiuli, what does that really mean? That's where the V'nishma comes in. But first, we said Nasa. We do. And we'll figure out the whys and wherefores. But that doesn't take away the importance of doing what Hashem told us because He told us to do it. Zachar es Yom Shabbos Lakadsho. Of course, let us, one of the Aseret HaDibrot, and we're still discussing a lot of these ideas there's the Nasa of Shabbos, there's the Venishma of Shabbos. We do what we're told in terms of Shmirat Shabbat, and then we could understand why this is a Tolada of this Av Malacha. Okay, but Shabbos we keep, because it is the source of all blessing. Shabbos hi makar habracha. Have a very wonderful week, everybody. Have a wonderful upcoming Shabbos Parshas Truma. We'll speak more about that later in the week. Thank you for tuning in. And again, sorry we didn't get this in before Shabbos, but some quick thoughts on Parshat Mishpatim. Have an absolutely wonderful week. Agad Tavach, Shua Tov.